Hi, first graders. It's Miss Loftman again with Junie B. Jones, Mushy Gushy Valentine, and we're on chapter 3. So this chapter is called Picking Out Valentimes. And remember how Junie B says Valentine with an M on the end? The Valentine's box turned out very beautiful. After it was finished, Mrs. passed out lists for us to take home. The list had the names of all the children in room 9. There are 18 children in our class, said Mrs., so that means that everyone needs to bring 18 valentines. I raised my hand. Do we bring valentines for ourselves, too? I asked her. Well, no, she said. I mean, there's no rule against it, I suppose, but valentines are really supposed to be given to others. And then she thought for a second. Oops, I guess that means I made a mistake, doesn't it? She said. Since you won't be bringing in cards for yourselves, you will only need to bring in 17 valentines. I raised up my hand again. Yeah, only what if we also want to bring a valentine for you, Mrs.? I asked. Mrs. raised up her eyebrows. Well, then you'd be back up to 18 again, wouldn't you? She said. 17 plus 1 equals 18. I tapped on my chin. Yeah, only what if there's people in here who we don't actually like very much? Do we have to bring them a valentine too? Yes, Junie B., she said, of course you do. Valentine's Day is a day of friendship for everyone, so every single boy and girl in room 9 will bring a card for every other boy and girl. And after Mrs. finished explaining, she sat back down at her desk. I zoomed up there and I whispered in her ear, yeah, only I know that I have to bring cards to the regular boys and girls, I said real soft, but I don't have to bring cards to the big fat stinky head ones, do I? All of a sudden, Mrs. threw her arms in the air. Yes, Junie B., yes, you do, she said. For the last time, you will bring a card for everyone in room 9, even the big fat stinky heads. Just then, all of room 9 looked at her because teachers are not supposed to say big fat stinky heads, I don't think. Oh, but Junie B. made her say it. All right. And after that, Mrs. closed her eyes for a long time, and then finally she stood up very slowly and she went to the sink and she took an aspirin because Junie B. must have been giving her a headache, so she took an aspirin. The next day was Saturday. It was the most fun Saturday ever because Daddy took me to the store and he bought me beautiful heart antennas for my head. Plus also he let me pick out my very own box of valentines. And after we got home, Mother helped me pick out the perfect cards for every person in room 9. First, I picked a card for my best friend Lucille. It had a lovely princess on the front of it. This one, Mother, this one, I said. I will give Lucille this one because when she grows up, she's going to marry an expensive prince and she's going to let me and Grace sweep her castle. Plus also we'll get to wear her raggedy used up gowns. Mother looked and looked at me. Wow, Lucille is a regular saint, isn't she? She said very quiet. I know it, I said. Me and Grace are very lucky to have her. And after that, I found the perfect card for Grace, too. It had 2 running shoes on the front of it. Oh, and Grace is a fast runner. Mother read the words to me. It said, Valentine, you and I make a perfect pair. We do, Mother. Me and Grace do make a perfect pair because Grace can beat me at running and I can beat Grace at a lot of other stuff probably, only I haven't actually found anything yet. And after that, I picked out a special card for all of the other children in room 9. And every time I picked out a Valentine, Mother crossed the name off the list. Finally, there was just one name left. Jim, said Mother, you still need to pick a card out for Jim. I did a big sigh because I didn't want to give that guy one, of course. I looked all through my box of valentines, and then all of a sudden I saw a card with a funny skunk on the front of it. That one, I said. I will send Jim that one. Mother shook her head. I don't know, Junie B. A picture of a skunk just doesn't seem very nice. I put it in the envelope. Perfect, I said, because neither is Jim. And the next chapter is called The Disagreement. It's chapter 4. On Monday, I skipped into room 9, very thrilled. Mrs., look, I said, I have all my valentines for the big, giant valentines box. They're right here in this paper bag that I'm carrying. I ran and I showed her inside it. See them, Mrs. I matched every single card to the exact person who was going to get it. Mrs. patted my head and she said the words, "Good job." And then she took me by my hand and she showed me how to put my Valentines through the mail slot in the top of the box. "I do believe that you're the very first person in room 9 to bring her cards in," said Mrs. I did a gasp at that exciting news. "First, Mrs.? I'm really the first?" And after that, I sprung way high in the air and I ran around and around in a circle. "I've never been the first at anything before," I said real squealy. "Not ever, ever, never. And so what's my prize for winning?" I closed my eyes and I held out my hands. "Put it right here in my hands, okay, Mrs.? And I won't even peek, I promise." And after that, I stood there real patient, but nothing got put into my hands. Finally, Mrs. bent down next to my ear. "Junie B, honey, I'm really sorry, but there's no prize. We weren't actually having a contest." I opened my eyes. "We weren't?" I asked. Mrs. shook her head. "No." My shoulders slumped a teeny bit. "So then a prize would be out of the question, probably?" I said. Mrs. shrugged. "I'm afraid I didn't buy any prizes." And after that, I rocked back and forth on my feet, and I thought and I thought. "Would you happen to have a mint in your drawer, maybe? Or some stickers?" I asked. Mrs. smiled, and then she took me to her desk, and we looked in her drawer. "How about a broken piece of chalk and a rubber band?" she asked. "Sold," I said. And after that, Mrs. told me congratulations and she gave me my prizes. I quick skipped to my table to show them to Lucille. Lucille wrinkled up her nose. "Ew, have you been going through the trash can again, Junie B?" "No, silly, these are my prizes. I got prizes for bringing my Valentines in first." Lucille smoothed her dress. "Yes, well, I would have brought my cards in today too, but they're not back from the printers yet." "Huh? What?" I said. "The printers?" "The printers, where they print my name on the cards. Wait till you see them, Junie B. Every card will say 'Love and kisses from Lucille' on the bottom." And then she hugged herself. "They're so beautiful," she said. "Each Valentine has a cherry lollipop on the front, and the lollipop is in the shape of Cupid. That's the little baby that flies around with the arrow, and if he shoots you, you're going to fall in love with someone." And then she sighed, very dreamy. "Cupid is the symbol of Valentine's Day, you know." "Of course I know," I said back. "Plus, also, skunks and shoes are symbols of Valentine's Day, too, because that's what's on my cards." And after that, me and Lucille did our work until recess, and then both of us went outside to play with our other best friend, Grace. Only too bad for us, because Lucille kept on bragging about Valentine's Day, and that's how come she and Grace got into a little disagreement. "I'm going to get more Valentines than anyone," said Lucille. "That's because the boys love me better than any other girl, and they will bring me lots and lots of cards." Grace looked curious at her. "But Mrs. said to bring one card for every boy and girl in our class, not lots and lots." Lucille flounced her fluffy dress. "Silly Grace, look at me for goodness sake. I'm precious. And when you're precious, boys automatically bring you lots of Valentines. They just can't help themselves." And then she twirled all around. "I'm the cutest girl in room 9, Grace," she said. "I am way cuter than anyone else." And then she giggled and pointed. "Even you." Oh, boys and girls, she's not being nice. And after that, Grace did a little frown because that hurt her feelings, I think. I tapped on Lucille. "Yeah, only Grace is the nicest, Lucille. And so maybe boys will bring her lots of Valentines too." Lucille did a huffy breath at me. "But I'm richer than Grace, Junie B, so that's another reason that they're going to bring me more," she said. So then I thought for a minute. "Yeah, but Grace can run really fast," I said. "So," said Lucille, "my hair is longer and boys like long hair." There they are arguing. Lucille is arguing with Junie B and Grace because Lucille thinks all the boys will bring her lots and lots of cards. And then I looked at Grace's head. But Grace's hair is springier and curlier than yours, and that is as cute as a button. Lucille made squinty eyes at me. "But I have a big screen TV and a pool at my house," she said real loud. And that's how come me and Grace leaned our heads in together and we got into a huggle. And finally, I looked up at Lucille. "Okay, here's what we came up with," I said. Grace can whistle through her teeth, plus also she can wiggle her ears, and also she can dribble a basketball through her legs while she's running. Lucille jumped up and down. But I have a pony, she hollered. I patted her very sympathetically. Sorry, I said real soft, but Grace has a snake. And after that, Lucille's shoulders got very saggy, and she sat down in the grass because boys love snakes way better than anything else. Pretty soon, that Grace sat down next to Lucille, and she put her arm around Lucille's shoulders, and she patted her. Because guess what else? Grace is a really good sport. So here, Grace was trying to make Lucille feel better. All right, boys and girls, we'll see what happens next tomorrow.